I've drawn it similar to 2017, where people don't remember the first time Bitcoin ever closed above 2,500 US dollars was in June. It then ended that year, 2017, at 20,000. So in 6 months, it went from 2,000 to 20,000. It 10x in 6 months. I think something similar to that this year. I think it'll be volatile over the next month, this new administration. You've got Jerome Powell and Trump disagreeing. And then I think after Q1, I think we're going to get a weaker dollar. And then I think Bitcoin's going to explode. It'll go between 250,000 to a million.
With a weaker dollar and a pro-crypto administration, Bitcoin could soar to 250,000 or even $1 million by year end. That's the latest prediction from Strike CEO and Bitcoin maximalist Jack Mallers. Bitcoin's 2017 run from $2,000 to $20,000 in just 6 months was unforgettable, and some believe 2025 could see a similar surge. With the new administration settling in and some early volatility expected, Bitcoin is set for another big jump. Mallers suggests that after Q1, a weaker dollar could fuel Bitcoin's price explosion, with estimates ranging from $250,000 to $1 million by year-end. If history repeats itself, this could be Bitcoin's most exciting year yet. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video as Jack Mallers shares more valuable information about the current market. Also guys, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy staying up to date with finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind. Now let's go back to the video and hear it from Jack Mallers.
My point is pretty straightforward. I think this new administration is going to bring a lot of volatility. I think that's normal. I think the dollar's way too strong. And I think there's not enough liquidity in the system. What we're going to get from Trump, from the Fed, from both, from any financial authority, from the Treasury, is we're going to get direction on how they plan to weaken the dollar and pump assets. I still think that we've got more volatility in the near-term future. I think the long-term, I think over the next 6 to 12 months, we're going way higher. I still stand by my prediction that this year, Bitcoin will go 250K to a million. But in the short term, I think this is a scare you out or wear you out market. I fundamentally believe that. And so I expect more volatility. It does not surprise me that Bitcoin was not over 100K forever, that we dipped below it. I think now we're back above it ever so slightly. I expect some more wear you out, some more scare you out. Longer term, Bitcoin's going to the moon. Shorter term, I would personally expect some volatility. Fair enough? Okay, next topic, Ripple undermining the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I got some calls and texts over the last week where from Washington, D.C., I can't say more than that, but from folks in our nation's capital in the United States, that Ripple is in fact spending millions of dollars to undermine a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States of America. I put out a video on the internet giving my thoughts. I would encourage you to go watch that in full. It's about 5 minutes if you want. But the long and short of it's absolutely unacceptable. In my opinion, Bitcoin strategic reserve would be one of the most important announcements in U.S. economic history. However, unlike past important economic announcements, this one would be positive, okay? Traditionally, economic announcements in the U.S. have been seizing assets like gold, divorcing from monetary standards and monetary policies, like in 1971 when we left the gold standard to debase and inflate the lives of the public. They've been, like in 2008, bailing out corporations, Wall Street, private businesses at the expense of the people. These are all announcements that are negative. These are all announcements that are against the public, that are against the best interest of the people, okay? They are taxing the individual. They're taxing all of us via inflation, via bailouts, via currency debasement, via asset seizure, right? This announcement would be the opposite with Bitcoin. Here you have an asset and a money that has a monetary policy that cannot be changed. Okay. Here you have an asset that was accessible to the people before it was accessible to Wall Street, before it was accessible to governments. Governments own 2, 3, 4% of the Bitcoin network. The Bitcoin network is majority owned by the individuals around the world. It has a monetary policy that no one can change. It is an asset and a network that no one can control. So this financial announcement is pro-jobs, pro-industry, pro-energy, pro-technology, pro-innovation, pro-growth. This addresses the biggest problem we have in the United States of America, which is our deficits, which is our debt. Okay, it addresses some of the biggest initiatives we have in America, which is how do we drive growth? How do we drive economic prosperity? Okay. Also, how do we push American ideals globally, right? You're talking about AI, global warfare, Russia, China. How do we push freedom, inclusion, democracy? How do we push that not just with words, and certainly we don't want war. How do we push that through technology? Bitcoin. So this is a rare announcement that is as important as any economic announcement in the last 100 years in the United States of America. However, it's positive, it's progressive, it acts in the best interest of the public. Listen, Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, even had to mine his. Okay. For those that don't know, Bitcoin was distributed through proof of work, through mining, through energy. Satoshi Nakamoto had to give energy to get his first Bitcoin. Even he didn't get any printed and handed to himself. Let me tell you guys something. Anyone that owns Bitcoin today has had to give energy to get it. I'm going to say that again. Anyone that owns Bitcoin today has had to give energy to get it. Energy is the base layer of money. Okay, it's the currency of the universe. Whether you're Satoshi Nakamoto and you had to mine your first Bitcoins via proof of work, or whether you're Michael Saylor and you had to contribute your life's time, energy, and work to creating a company, creating MicroStrategy. How many hours has Saylor put into his business, put into his craft, put into his profession, put into his employees, his board, his shareholders? Acquiring Bitcoin through energy is not just mining it. We all spend time and energy every day to contribute value to this world. And in return for that, we get money. And Bitcoin is the best money, the world's money, the future world reserve currency. And everyone that owns Bitcoin right now, whether you mined it or not, had to produce valuable energy to get it. That is not true for altcoins, for Ripple. There's a select group of people at a private company that did nothing but print it for themselves. That is not contributing energy to society, value to the world. That is the difference.
Meanwhile, Arthur Hayes, former CEO of BitMEX, predicts Bitcoin could see a sharp drop to $70,000 if the US faces a mini financial crisis. However, he's confident that Bitcoin will rebound and could hit $250,000 by the end of the year, just like what Jack Mallers suggests. Bitcoin recently dropped to a nearly 7% in a day as markets faced a broader sell-off. This followed news of DeepSeek R1, an advanced AI model from a Chinese startup that outperformed major US tech models at a fraction of the cost, rattling demand for chips and data centers. Hayes believes that while short-term drops are possible, Bitcoin's long-term potential remains strong, with a major rally still on the horizon. Now let's go back to more exciting outlooks by Jack Mallers.
SAB 121 repealed by the SEC. For those that don't know, Gary Gensler's SEC put in a rule that did not allow banks and financial institutions to do Bitcoin stuff, basically, to dumb it down to its simplest terms. Listen, banks are in the business of providing you financial services. You know, you hear Jamie Dimon talking smack about Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, banks don't care, right? They want to hold your money for you if you're willing to pay them for that. They want to help you invest if you're willing to pay them for that. They want to process your payments if you're willing to pay them for that. They want to help you process your payroll if you're willing to pay them for that. Banks provide you financial services. And if a growing number of their customers want Bitcoin financial services, they want to provide you that service. Do not get it twisted. At the end of the day, banks are businesses. They're in the business of financial services. You think JP Morgan Chase doesn't want to offer Saylor Bitcoin financial services? This now $100 billion company? Yeah, they probably do. Now, SAB 121 and Gensler prevented them from doing so. And so that really put unnatural restrictions on Bitcoin's growth. If Chase and Morgan Stanley and Bank of America could all offer Bitcoin financial services to their biggest customers like Meta, Google, Amazon, you're probably going to get more corporate Bitcoin adoption. You're probably going to get more adoption from sovereigns, from family offices. This, in my opinion, also a very sneaky property of this is Bitcoin entrenches itself into a settlement network for the biggest pools of capital in the world. If Bank of America and Chase are on the Bitcoin network, how long until we're using Bitcoin to net settle large pools of capital? Right? Wouldn't your clients be like, hey, I would actually want cheaper cross-border payments or the ability to move money quickly on a Sunday night, right? Strike has built this technology to move dollars, euros, pounds over the Bitcoin network. So I think not only does this support adoption, access better pools of capital, gives a lot of confidence and entrenches Bitcoin further into a place where it's probably not going to zero, and if not, it's going to 1 million, but also if you get the largest settlement banks and correspondents onto a new open network, new open source technology, I think it's going to win over the long term. I'm not saying next week you're going to be able to use your Chase account to move money over the Bitcoin network. But repealing this is huge, in my opinion. It is huge. We are not that far away from Chase Bank offering Bitcoin financial services. And again, follow the money, okay? Money walks, what is it? Something talks, money walks, whatever. Follow the money. If you have big customers that have a lot of money, that are making a lot of money, and they want something, that's what is going to happen. You know, the world isn't built off of philosophical ideals and charitable. No, the world is built capitalistically. If the biggest companies in the world and the richest people in the world and the most successful governments in the world are all getting into Bitcoin, then banks are going to support services in Bitcoin. And the fact that they couldn't so far is a crime. It's kind of ridiculous, but now they can. Now they can. I think it's really, really exciting that you're going to see banks as a huge bullish sweep in this cycle, right? When you think like, Jack, how is Bitcoin going to get to 250,000 plus this year? Well, if you get a tremendously weaker dollar, if you get lighter monetary policy from the administration, pro-growth, if you get SAB 121 repealed, if you get in-kind redemptions on ETFs, if you get a Bitcoin strategic reserves, if you get nation state FOMO and stacking, I think easily 250K to 1 million.
The repeal of SAB 121 is a big deal for Bitcoin. This rule had stopped banks from offering Bitcoin services, but now that it's gone, major banks like Chase and Bank of America can finally get involved. Banks go where the money is, and with big companies and wealthy clients wanting Bitcoin services, they're ready to step up. This could lead to more companies and even governments adopting Bitcoin, bringing it closer to becoming a normal part of our financial system. As Jack Mallers said, with banks on board, big price jumps like $250,000 to $1 million now feel more possible than ever. Anyway guys, before we go, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto and Bitcoin world, make sure to subscribe to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a concise resource for the latest expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis, trusted by over 50,000 subscribers for insightful crypto investment information. Don't miss out on the opportunity to stay informed in the crypto market. The link is in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed today's video and that it provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.